let's continue then. So I was talking about this GBP card trade. So I said this trade is actually a trade I've also explained in my last video, but let's just go back to it just for refreshing purposes, at least for a starting point. Okay, so like I said, the entire setup or whatever happened here started from daily to weekly time frame. So even by looking here on the daily, you can already see structure. You can see there is a low here by exactly what I trade. So you can see there is a low here, and the low was swept, and price provided us with liquidity. And this is a break of structure on the daily time frame. I hope you noticed that I said a break of structure on the daily time frame. Oh, I've not been recording, have I?
You're recording.
I'm recording. All right. So, like I was saying, all right, I'm recording. So, like I was saying, there was a daily break of structure on this high. So on this high, you can see a daily break of structure. Because how do you know there's a break of structure? According to what I told you, you check by candles, not by week. Okay. So any break of structure that appears to be by a week is not actually a break of structure. Sometimes, majority of the times, 80% of the time, it actually means that price does not want to go there. Okay, you can see like these other times, these other scenarios where price used weeks, you can see that price returned back. You can see it was just like price just swept the high 2 times. All right, so this is where price actually, the third instance here, the third box is where price actually broke structure. Okay, so this is the actual break of structure on daily. But then when you already see this, oh, it's already looking like, yeah, it's a good setup since the daily is showing break of structure, then you head down to 1 hour to look for confirmation. No, you are already making mistakes. After seeing your structure, the next thing you need to check is to validate your higher time frame superiority. Already you are seeing this POI here. You are seeing this QMR here. So you are seeing this QMR here that price is using now. All right. So you're already feeling like, this is a setup. Yeah, you should enter. No, this is not the setup. Okay. So you need to validate by higher time frame superiority. You need to check whether on weekly time frame there is also a break of structure on 2 day, 3 day, and stuff like that. So we'll go over to 1 week time frame, and you just get in, and you can see that straight up there was no break of structure on the weekly time frame. It was just a week. So this could actually mean that price does not want to come back this high. Not that it will happen 100% of the time that the setups will fail, but majority of the time, price will not come back above this high to give you a complete buy. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. If you have any questions, just type it in the chat. I'm going to look at them. Okay, so you see that this is a weak break of structure, not a body break. So if you trade structure and liquidity, always use the body break of structure, not the weak. Always use the body break of structure, not the weak. All right, so since you've seen this, now this does not mean that you are not going to have any setup around here. So this doesn't basically mean that price did not give a setup around here. What you need to do is to simply wait. Who is chatting? Okay, Enoch. Enoch, you've asked this question on YouTube before. The secret to knowing your break of structure is not actually a particular time frame, okay? So the thing is, if you have a setup on daily time frame, you have to check a time frame above that time frame just to know if that setup appears on that time frame. Okay, you can see this setup. We spotted it on the daily time frame, right? This one with the QMR, this one with the QMR, the entire thing. Forget about this part. So look at where I'm going to highlight. Forget about the parts where I showed you in the video. So the entire thing which happened here, we saw it on the daily time frame, right? Now, this does not mean that the daily time frame is the only time frame where you validate your break of structure. Now, what you need to do is check for higher time frames where that setup appears. So what I usually call it is the higher time frame superiority. It is my concept. Higher time frame superiority. You just need to check higher time frames where the setup also shows itself. All right. So you need to check, okay, weekly time frame, does he observe this setup? If the weekly time frame does not observe the setup and there's a break of structure on daily, then that means the highest time frame, the highest time frame that controls that setup is the daily time frame. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. So if that setup does not show on weekly, but everything is complete on the daily time frame, that means the daily time frame is the highest time frame that controls that setup. Okay. All right. So let's move on. So now, since we've seen this setup on the daily time frame now, we need to check the weekly time frame, especially. Most times I use time frames like 2 days, 3 days. I do check. Every time frame is important. Okay. So I would have loved to show you guys some other time frame, just that this is another account on this PC. So this is it. Mute your mic. Who is speaking? Mute. All right. So yeah, that's it. So we need to check the weekly time frame. Now, coming to the weekly time frame, what do you need to observe? Once the time is out, I'm going to drop a new link. It's usually 40 minutes. So what do you need to observe here? The first thing you check here is, does my setup appear here? Okay, you need to ask yourself, does my setup appear on this time frame? Now, if your setup appears on this time frame, that means this time frame is the time frame that controls that setup. Is the time frame that tells you what to do. So Enoch, there is no actual time frame where you check break of structure. It's just by superiority. Okay, it's just like a family of 5. You tell the most junior one to do something. He goes to the senior brother to ask for permission. The senior brother goes to the senior sister to ask for permission, and she asks the mother, and the mother asks the father. So the father is the final person to take the decision. If there is no father, the mother takes the decision. If there is no mother and father, the senior sister takes the decision, or the senior brother. So you get what I'm trying to say. So now, on coming here, you need to observe whether your setup appears. So you can see this low, right? You can see this low, and then price sweeps this low. The moment you see price sweep this low now, and you see price pull above, all right, let me observe the liquidity. So price provided liquidity. Now, the moment you see price cross that high that is marked, whether there's a break of structure or not, the moment price takes that external liquidity on that high, that setup has appeared on that time frame. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to say. So price may actually be somewhere around here. That means that setup has not appeared on this time frame. But the moment price crosses this external liquidity on this high, it has already been observed on this time frame. So this is what you have. Now, the real question now lies here. Is there a break of structure or not? I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying, Enoch. So here, what you need to check is there a break of structure or not? All right. So price has already taken external liquidity from this high. Now, is there a break of structure here or not? Someone answer in the comments. Is there a break of structure or not? Somebody answer in the comments. All right. So there is no break of structure. Very correct. So there is no break of structure. Now, the moment you see there is no break of structure here, the moment you see there is no break of structure, I want you to take away your mind from this major setup. And since you've marked your POI, shift your focus to the POI. Shift your focus. So even somebody that's not experienced is actually going to be waiting for a long position at this POI. So look at what you're waiting for. This should be about 3-4 hours. All right, 5 hours. Okay, and this is going to take months. So sometimes I do tell you, it's not always about the big setup. Sometimes you just need to take the reaction and walk. You don't waste your time, and you also don't risk losing it. Okay, so this is not a full structure and liquidity setup, but it still has something to offer you. But some traders, they will still see that this is just price taking external liquidity. There is no break of structure. But just because you see sweep, liquidity, and then price went back to that high, you are already trading patterns. You are not even trying to do the right thing. Once you see anything that look like this, oh, sorry. Once you see anything that looks like low, sweep of that low, liquidity. Once you see anything that look like this, few setup. Anything that look like this, few setup. Fabio Capella has now spoiled you people's mind. So you need to actually know if there is a break of structure here that will tell you that price will actually return here to give me a setup. Sometimes price will just use a week, and then when you're expecting a setup here to just come, react a little bit. You react, you say, the trade is ranging, patience. You're just deceiving yourself. After some days, they'll take you out. You start complaining, losses are normal, and all of this stuff. So I just want to correct you about this. So the break of structure is actually the candle body and not the wick. So since you waited for about 2 weeks here and price, because I was also waiting for this was around October when I was writing exams. I was also waiting for this because this type of setups, you just set and forget. So since price did not give you a weekly break of structure here, after waiting for 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 weeks, you shift your concentration and price comes back down to your POI. Now, this is the most dangerous place. This is the most dangerous place. This is even worse than no break of structure. Let me tell you something. No liquidity is worse than no break of structure. No liquidity is worse than no 8 out of 10 times or 6 out of 10 times, no liquidity will fail you. And maybe 4 out of 10 times, no break of structure will fail you. So okay, why I marked this is I'm using a QMR. You know what a QMR is now. So let's go to the time frame. I'm using a QMR. Look at this. This is a Quasimodo return. Look at it here. You've never seen this type of POI. Check almost all my charts. I mostly use QMR. So maybe just 4 out of 10 times I use other blocks. Most of my charts is QMR I use. Yeah, this is a QMR. That's why I marked the POI. Do you understand? All right, so since you've seen that our price has nothing to present you here now, the important aspect is you move to lower time frame. Now, since it's a weekly setup, weekly is the controlling guy. The weekly setup is the controlling guy. All right, the weekly setup is the controlling guy. All right, it's not really about candles, but I'll show you how to know if you have liquidity or not. Okay, so this is actually where the work lies. So since it's a weekly time frame, you can just all right. So I'll attend to questions. Let me just round up this area. I'll attend to questions. So this is a weekly setup, so you should be looking for the reactions on 4 hour. And there's something that annoyed me a lot here. Things that I've written in my threads on Twitter a lot of times, they were consistently playing out here. And I was saying, this is a trap, oh, don't trade. I was even saying it in our channel. This is a trap, oh, don't trade. This is a trap, don't trade. And still, some people still go ahead to mark things like that on their charts and place their money on such entries, and you still lose it. Or maybe because you see in someone else's channel, they mark something like that and say you should trade. Things that I've already studied over months, backtested them. I'm sure that 80 out of 100 times, this thing will work for you. So I bring this information and I put it to you that don't do this, don't do this. You actually need to go back, study, verify if what I'm telling you is actually the truth. Okay, so you don't just copy because, oh, this person, or even some of the trade ideas I post in the channel, I post some of them. I want you to go check, validate. Why would this trade play out? Why am I picking this setup? Why would this trade play out? Why would this trade not play out? Okay, so let's go down to 4 hours, since 1 week correlates with 4 hour. So I want to show you something here. So I hope the time permits. For supposed to be a long session. So here, price tapped into our POI here and moved this high. Now, look at this. Price created this low. Look at this low. Price created this low. Okay? And then price swept this low. Fine. And what happened? Price created liquidity before break of structure. Okay? Now, this is actually a setup on 4 hour. Very correct. Okay? This is a setup. Whatever happened here now, it's a setup on 4 hour time frame. Whatever happened here is a setup on 4 hour time frame. But for your break of structure and for your liquidity, you cannot ignore HTS, higher time frame superiority. You must always check. Okay, so you need to actually know, this my liquidity, does it appear on the next higher time frame? So the question you should ask yourself is, since you've asked the junior one should ask who? The senior brother. Okay, so who is superior to this 4 hour? So you should check daily time frame, and you should actually know if your setup appears on the daily time frame. Okay, so let's head to 1 day and check. All right, and you can see that actually your setup appears here. Now I'm going to teach you a small trick here. You see, in situations like this, most people will tell you that this is the main low and that price did not sweep the main low. It's not always true. I want you to notice that price dropped to this low and also what came this high, created another low. Okay, price created another low before pushing this high. And what happened? Price returned and took out that low. So for the fact that price came back to take out that low, there is already a sweep on the daily time frame. There is already a sweep. Now, that tells you that closer, more and more you are edging to your setup appearing on the daily time frame. And the next thing is what? You see a break of structure. The moment you see price take out external liquidity on this high, the moment you see price take out external liquidity on this high, that setup has already appeared on the daily time frame. So that means you already have what here? What it simply means is you already have this low, a sweep of the low, and break of structure. And then what? No liquidity. So liquidity appears on this chart on 4 hour, but liquidity does not appear on the daily time frame. So therefore, there is hardly any reason why this trade should hold. All right, there is hardly, okay, this will end in 10 minutes and I'm going to drop another link. So there is hardly any reason why this would keep holding. So let's check it on 4 hour again. So on 4 hour, you can see that there is liquidity around here. But on the higher time frame, judging by superiority, there is no what? There is no liquidity. So a lot of people around that period, that was November, you just marked your order block, you marked this QMR. Ella, you can see what a QMR is. It's the last order block that is supposed to be used, and price swept it out. So you can just use the last two candles. All right, so this is a QMR. So some of you just marked your QMR and then you expected price to tap into your POI this way. So this is what you expect, price to tap into your POI and give you a full buy. Now let me show you something. You see, in structure and liquidity, whenever you are actually correct, price will never take out your protected low. It does not happen. It is tested. Whenever price takes out your protected low, most likely, okay, let's just say most likely the setup failed. So it cannot be a correct setup because you extended your stop loss. Now, I'm not telling you not to extend your stop loss. I'm just telling you what is actually correct, because even due to spreads, I do add some amount of pips after my main stop. So, but I'm still telling you that for the purpose of correction, this protected low did not hold. Price took it out. So if I wanted to place my stop at the actual low, you see the trade already failed. Now, but a lot of people were actually saved because their stop loss was twice the normal size. All right. But what happened? Price traded above and still came back to do what? To take them out. Price still came back to take them out, telling you that whatever happened here without liquidity was rubbish. Okay? Whatever happened here without liquidity was rubbish. All right. So that's that for the continuation. Whenever you are looking for a confirmation, if you've read my trades on confirmation entry, you actually understand how price moves with dynamics, how the 1 hour and the daily time frame correlates, the 15 minutes and the 4 hour, the 4 hour and the weekly time frame, the daily and the monthly. So you understand the concept of confirmation entries and how they actually work. Now, that does not mean that when you see a trade and you see a reaction confirmation on it, that reaction confirmation also needs to be correct. Okay, so whatever applies to the main trade applies to the confirmation. I don't know if you guys are getting something. Whatever applies to the main trade applies to the correction. All right. So whatever applies to the main trade applies to the reaction. All right. So that's that. So this and whatever happened here was not proper structure and it failed. So go and check. I said it on Twitter, it will fail, and it failed. So let's actually look for proper structure and why did we take proper structure. So I think I'm going to or should I take the next 5 minutes to explain, so that in the next link we'll just proceed to maybe another trade or another setup. So this is what happened on actual daily time frame. Okay, on actual daily time frame, after price took you guys out, now I want you to see that there was a sweep of this low and a very correct sweep with a break of structure, and there was liquidity and price what. All right, let me not show you what price did. Let's do everything, mark out a POI. Okay, so this was the sweep, the sweep, the break of structure, the liquidity. And also I taught you guys to always measure your sweeps, because sometimes you just see the high that is swept. It's just very far. Price will sweep a high and come down here and you still be calling it sweep. with break of structure, things like this don't work. So always try to measure your sweep if possible. Always try to measure your sweep. Okay, so and also measure your liquidity. Your liquidity should be close enough to the 50%. Okay, you can see this. All right, you see our liquidity is nearly at the 50%, and our sweep is well in the 50% Fibonacci. Okay, so problem is that when I write threads and post on Twitter, you guys don't read it or things like that. But that's actually where I stored most of my information. Okay, so as I discovered these things, I was putting it out. Just go to Twitter, check my highlights on my page, and you'll see most of them: confirmation entries, introduction to structure and liquidity, algo traps, and all of these things. I've posted it on Twitter. Okay, so this is an actual sweep here, an actual break of structure by body, and also there was liquidity. You can even check the weekly time frame. Let's see if price has anything to offer us. And no, our setup does not appear on the weekly time frame. Now you see that the daily time frame is the time frame which holds the key to this setup. All right, because it does not appear on the weekly time frame. I hope it's now clear. All right, so that's that, and you just mark this other block. You can just mark this other block. All right, but I had a cleaner entry on this trade, and it's due to one of my premium cheats. It's the type of things I'll be teaching in Rebirth. Okay, type of things I'll be teaching in Rebirth. Rebirth starts in February. So I had a closer entry at this, after, below this low. All right, so yeah, so you could just place your entry on this other block and aim for the high. Don't aim for the main high, not for the main high, just aim for the high. So whenever your confirmation or your reaction is correct, price will always come for it. Price will always come for it. Okay, so please don't ask me in the comments how I got the entry. So it's premium information. This is a free session. All right, so I had an entry of about 6R. Yeah, 6R. My entry was somewhere here. Posted the trade on Twitter. So this is a correct sweep with break of structure and liquidity. And it's not 50% of the candle. I don't do things like that. I don't know. I don't even know how to take. Is it close to 50%? Okay. It's actually close to 50%, but I don't do 50% of candle. You miss your entry, so that's not how I got the entry. Okay. So yeah, I'll answer any questions for this part. And what if on higher time frame price shows the structural liquidity and break of structure but no sweep? Okay, yeah, I understand what you mean. Like, okay, maybe on lower time frame, have just 1 minute, I'll be quick. On lower time frame, you see something like this, right? You see something like this on lower time frame, and then on higher time frame, you see something like this, but no sweep. But then there's liquidity and then break of structure. That's what you mean, right? Is that what you mean? All right, so if this is what you mean, it's still valid. That means the superior time frame is this one, not this one. As long as there's no sweep on that next higher time frame, it doesn't hold any power. So this is the superior time frame. Okay. So which other question? Wonderful. I hope you understand. Confirmation entry. Confirmation entry. Okay. Though I just talked about it, but yeah, we'll just look at it. So this does not hold the power to this. It's actually this one that holds the power. So as long as there's no sweep here, this is trash. All right, guys, we've come to the end of this part of the video, and I'm glad you stayed through. I'll be uploading the part 2, so make sure you check my channel for part 2. Follow me on X, at his @his_AK. That's my username. Follow me on X, join our Telegram channel where we drop free forex and crypto trades, trade ideas, and also info that will up your trading game. And also I have an upcoming mentorship which begins February. So it's a 1-year program where you learn from basic to pro market structure, liquidity, and points of interest. And I'll also be teaching the secrets of structure and liquidity. That's when and when not to trade structure and liquidity. All right, so that's all for now. Check my channel for part 2, and thank you.